Sean "Diddy" Combs thought he had escaped the worst, but just days before sentencing, the courtroom dropped another bomb. A federal judge rejected his request for freedom, citing overwhelming evidence that could lock him away for years. Could this be the final downfall of hip-hop's most powerful mogul? The ruling wasn't just a technicality, it came with a harsh statement from the court that the government had presented what it called overwhelming evidence of his guilt. That raises the question, how did one of hip-hop's most powerful figures end up here, fighting for his freedom while the world watches his empire unravel? The judge's decision shines a spotlight on what exactly Diddy was up against. While he managed to avoid conviction on the most severe accusations, charges tied to sex trafficking and racketeering, he wasn't cleared completely. In July, the jury found him guilty on 2 federal counts of transporting individuals for prostitution, a crime that still carries serious weight. Each count comes with a possible 10-year prison sentence, meaning the music mogul could face over a decade behind bars if the court accepts the prosecution's recommendation. It's a stunning fall for a man once worth hundreds of millions and praised as a visionary in music, fashion, and business. But what exactly convinced the jury? That's where things get darker. A big part of the case revolved around testimony from 2 women, his former girlfriend Cassie Ventura and another woman identified only as Jane. Both claimed that during their relationships with Diddy, they were pressured and coerced into participating in what they described as freak-offs. For Cassie, who was already a public figure due to her music career and long history with the star, stepping forward meant reliving deeply personal experiences. For Jane, her anonymity didn't lessen the weight of her words. Together, their accounts painted a picture of manipulation and control behind the glamorous facade of Diddy's lifestyle. And the women weren't alone. The courtroom also heard from escorts who said they were pulled into these situations. Their testimonies backed up the claims of Cassie and Jane, adding extra layers of detail to the disturbing allegations. But what really hit hard was the digital evidence. Emails and text messages presented during trial reportedly revealed exchanges that lined up with what the women described. The government emphasized that it wasn't just about accusations anymore, there were receipts. When combined, these elements made it almost impossible for the defense to argue there wasn't enough proof. Still, what happens next could be career-defining. Each conviction on its own could bring up to 10 years in prison, but prosecutors have asked the court to impose 11 years total. They argue that while Diddy shouldn't be punished for charges he was acquitted of, the way he carried out the crimes he was convicted for should weigh heavily in the final sentencing. Their September 30th filing made that clear, suggesting that justice requires more than just acknowledging the bare minimum of his guilt. It requires punishing the manner in which he committed these acts. For Diddy, who maintains his not guilty plea, that argument could make all the difference in how long he stays behind bars. So here's where we're left, a hip-hop legend facing the real possibility of spending the next decade in prison. For a man who built an empire on being larger than life, this is a fall that could change everything, not just for Diddy himself, but for the industry he once dominated. The real question now isn't just what his sentence will be, but whether his legacy can survive the storm. From billionaire mogul to a man staring down 11 years behind bars, the story of Diddy is one that nobody could have predicted. And as the final judgment looms, one thing is certain, whatever happens next will leave the world talking. So what do you think? Do you believe Diddy is being unfairly targeted by the system, or is this finally justice catching up to him? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more stories that expose the truth behind the headlines. Is this really justice, or just another example of the system protecting powerful men until they finally get caught slipping?